Well, move over, Russell Wilson, because we have a new Mr. Unlimited in the house, and that is Sean Payton and George Paton, because the choices that we have to make in the next 3 weeks before the NFL draft are truly unlimited. And I spent some time over the past couple days truly narrowing it down to what are, I think, the 4 options that we have going into this NFL draft. And as always, I'm counting on you to tell me in the comments which of these choices or doors that we could walk through have you most hyped for the next offseason. If you're new to this channel, my name is Ben. I break down all things Denver Broncos. Helps me out if you like that content, if you could like and subscribe. So we are going to dive in. Last night I sat down to record and I just stared at a blank screen on my computer because I couldn't even process all of the choices that we have to make. And I've narrowed them down to what I think are the 4 options we have. We're going to talk through what each of those options would cost, what they would yield, and what I think about them. And then I want to hear from you. Which of these doors do you want to see us walk through on April 25th? So this is in no order, not my order of what I think is going to happen. They're just random doors. So door number 1 is that the Denver Broncos trade up to get the QB of the future. So if we look at those doors and what it would cost to trade up and who it would be for, Caleb Williams is essentially off the board. But after that, I think that it is very much in play that the Denver Broncos could make a move to trade up for Jayden Daniels. They could make a move to trade up for Maye or JJ McCarthy. Evidence that supports that is hearing Peter Schrager, who worked with Sean Payton when they were both analysts, said that Sean Payton, over and over, the story he always told was about how if in the draft with Patrick Mahomes, they were targeting Patrick Mahomes with the 12th pick, all of a sudden Kansas City bumped him. If that happened, if Patrick Mahomes was with the New Orleans Saints, Sean Payton would still be the Saints coach. There's no doubt about that. And so he said, I don't think Sean Payton is going to be left and caught red-handed again. If he has his guy out there and has him in mind, he will do whatever it takes to move up and get him. So the question becomes, all right, if Sean Payton in his mind has one of these dudes nailed down, who would be the potential draft partners? And Zach Stevens at DNVR broke it down perfectly. Each one of these emojis kind of shows if it's even on the board, if it's potential, maybe, or yeah, definitely that pick is open for business. So we're looking here which of these trade options would happen. So if Sean Payton wants Jayden Daniels or Maye, my guess is it's going to have to be with the Commanders or the Patriots, and you are hearing that is the minimum asking price to get into 2 or 3 is 3 future first-round picks, or 3 first-round picks this year and 2 future first-round picks. I think that is a ton to give up for a quarterback that is a 36% hit rate. Although if Sean Payton knows that this is the next Patrick Mahomes, we would be thrilled with that decision. It's a high-risk, high-reward move, and it could leave us just enthralled and excited, or make us very, very that could truly set the Denver Broncos back a half of a decade if we are missing first-round picks for the next 2 years after this year. I think the Chargers are off the board. I don't think there's any possibility that they would want to trade in division. Harbaugh isn't going to want to do that. Cardinals, that would be if, Maye falls. I could see that. I don't envision the Broncos trading up to 4 for JJ McCarthy, who a lot of people had as a second rounder or a third rounder, just even leading up to the national championship game. So those are all trade up, what I think it would take. What do you think about door number 1? Door number 2 is that Sean Payton is okay with having the 5th quarterback in the draft, and he's going to just pick either Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr. at number 12. It's almost a guaranteed that JJ McCarthy is going to be off the board, Maye and Jayden Daniels are going to be off the board, unless something happens and a tweet goes out with one of them doing illegal activities or something like that. They will be off the board. So if Sean Payton is I'm good with the 5th round or with the 5th best quarterback in this draft, we know he said multiple times, I'm going to be good at this and I'm happy that other people aren't. And maybe he knows that one of these is his guy and he's going to take him. Huge red flags with both of these quarterbacks and huge upsides as well. So the big red flags with Bo Nix is that he's 24 years old. So he's had a lot of time and he's playing against guys who's, just as, what's his name? Chad Brown said guys who's just had their girlfriend break up with them and don't know how they're going to pay rent. And like, you're playing a bunch of younger guys, and he really benefited from run after the catch, hitting guys at the line of scrimmage or a couple yards off the line of scrimmage and letting them do the rest. That doesn't always translate to the NFL. Big downside, I think, with Michael Penix Jr. is obviously you could make the argument that the receiving core that he had to work with in Washington was on par with the Denver Broncos receiving core now. And like you saw with Jamar Chase, like he makes bad quarterbacks look good. And so is that same true with Odunze? Or is that really Michael Penix Jr. being great? And obviously the other big red flag with him is 2 ACL surgeries, although he seemed to show that did not leave a lasting mark, at least with him running and jumping at the combine. You also hear rumors about, is Michael Penix Jr. as nimble and athletic as everyone thinks? He had less than like 30 yards rushing all last season, so he doesn't truly have that 4.4 speed on the field. Or was he just trying to prove that he can win from the pocket? The other red flag with him is that most of his success was outside the numbers. College football is a much more spread out system because of where the hash marks are. And we know that was what drove Sean Payton most crazy about Russell Wilson, is that his success was outside the numbers, and Sean Payton drew dudes up to be open in the middle. And so that could also be a red flag. So that door number 2, Denver Broncos know they like Penix or like Michael Penix Jr., and they're not willing to risk letting one of those guys fall. Door number 3 is that the Denver Broncos do not try to get the quarterback of the future in this draft, and instead at the 12th overall pick, they say, hey, we are going to get the best player available. One of my commenters on one of my videos, I love reading those, and I feel like it does so much research for me. So massive shout out to user ZR4KR, all these letters here. I'll give him a shout out and tag him in this video as well. He pointed out that if you look back to the 2006 draft, when Sean Payton came into New Orleans, he got a free agent quarterback in Drew Brees, and then passed up on generational talents at quarterback position. He passed up on Jay Cutler, passed up on Leinart, and passed up on Vince Young, all quarterbacks who were massively hyped. You had Leinart and Vince Young in that college football championship game, right? And both of those dudes he passes on for Reggie Bush. And so you see precedent for Sean Payton being like, hey, I'll make my quarterback work, but I'm not going to find a Reggie Bush in free agency. And so you could see instead, best player available. If for whatever reason you have 4 quarterbacks go, that then makes your board at 12 look amazing, because you could have a unicorn tight end at Brock Bowers fall to you at 12. And people are saying like he is going to change the game, that he's Greg Olsen, but more reliable. You saw him like lining up at running back. There's concerns about his size. Perhaps he is a little undersized, but we know how important the tight end position is to a Sean Payton offense. And if he could have Brock Bowers at 12, watch out. We could, would you have Joe Alt or the Penn State tackle fall to you? If you could have a tackle and then trade Garrett Bowles, or just have that depth there, that could be amazing. Or could you get an amazing pass rusher falling to you at 12? And then if we're doing best player available at 12, then is the offense getting thrust all upon Jarret Stidham? We have seen him talk up Jarret Stidham more than anyone else, saying that he is comfortable, that no matter what happens, he's going to be competing this year for the starting role. Last year, we all were like, whoa, we made some huge moves, but we also gave him a $10 million. He was one of the highest paid backup quarterbacks in the league, and that's because Sean Payton believes in him. Does he think that he has a Brock Purdy in Jarret Stidham who he can win with? Other rumors is, Sean Payton has angered the Dennis Allen, the head coach of the Saints, because we just keep taking all of the Saints' great players. There's also rumors that the Broncos might try to trade for Taysom Hill. That could be to mentor a rookie quarterback, or that could just be Taysom Hill, I know you, I can win with you. Or then we remember the quote that he said there's still some players available in free agency, or some guys who have played in this league. And there were some possible rumors, like, could that be RG3? Could that be others? A lot of people are saying that's probably Ryan Tannehill, because he isn't signed to a team right now. So he's a guy who has played in this league. So that would be the options there. The other thing could be like, are we kicking the can down the road to next year? And we are trying this competitive rebuild. We're going to give the reins to Jarret Stidham. And then next year, it looks like Dak Prescott is going to be a free agent. And we have a massive war chest with $100 million in cap space next year. Before the cap even goes up, would we make a run at Dak next year? Or are we saying, hey, we think next year we will have more ammo to make a trade up to get a Shadeur Sanders, to get a Carson Beck, to get a Drew Aller from Penn State. So that would be best player available at 12. If those top talents, if that Brock Bowers falls to 12, you're going to have a lot of people calling the Denver Broncos saying, oh my goodness, I could get a generational tight end. So door number 4 is that if there is a great player who has fallen to 12, you could see teams just throwing picks at us in order to have us trade back. So I think door number 4 is that the Denver Broncos trade back and then go get the quarterback of the future. I think Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr. will definitely still be on the board at the end of the first round. The big gamble you're taking there is, let's say Bo Nix is your dude. Are the Raiders going to take him at 13? Or let's say Michael Penix is your dude. Are you going to risk it? And that's the big question. I think if I had to choose what the Broncos do, I would choose door number 4. I would say let's trade back and get Michael Penix Jr. or Bo Nix. But truly, I want Sean Payton to write down on a piece of paper the quarterback he wants. And if he's on the board at 12, take him. If he has amazing intel that quarterback you've written down on a paper, everybody else is sleeping on, and you think you could pick up a couple second rounders, you think you could pick up maybe even a first rounder next year by trading with the Texans and then still get the quarterback you want, that truly is the best case scenario. But as Gary Kubiak said, we are fixing to find out what is going to happen. We're just 3 weeks away, and I literally cannot wait, and I can't wait to be riding there with all of y'all. So thank you so much. Tell me, which door do you want the Broncos to walk through and why? In Broncos country, let's giddy up. Ooh. Either way, it's going to be great because I just swished that.